Is your favorite viral brightening serum a total scam? Over the last few weeks, the internet has been exploding with aestheticians and cosmetic chemists doing theoretical math on how much azelaic acid is actually hitting your skin from popular serums like Anua and Medicube. And they claim because of the formulation pH levels and the azelaic acid, raw azelaic acid solubility, the amount of azelaic acid reaching your skin is fraction of the percentage that's mentioned on the box, making expensive cosmetic serums practically useless compared to heavy-duty pharmaceutical creams like Azadir. And yet, if you have used a 16% azelaic acid serum and you have seen brightness, improvement in your skin tone and the texture, then who is right, the TikTok lab equation or your own mirror? To get past the internet noise and look at the actual science, today I'm sitting down with Dr. Leah Ramachandra, a double doctorate pharmacist and a skincare brand formulator. Who better to break down the reality of cosmetic chemistry and formulation than somebody who has spent more than a decade in the pharmaceutical industry and has been formulating her own skincare. Let's dive in. Hey, hello, nice to see you after a long time.
No, it's been a bit crazy. It was the summer and then we came back and then COVID and all that stuff. So I'm like,
Okay, so let's start this azelaic acid scam conversation. And you have seen those videos?
yes, interesting.
Interesting. Yeah, I've seen some other creators as well who are aestheticians and they are cosmetic formulators. And sometimes, you have a completely different polarizing opinion. But this reel that I've sent you, this content piece, and he talks about how the pH of the Anua azelaic acid serum is so high that the azelaic acid percentage, the ingredient itself, becomes inert. So how do you see that?
So I see it slightly different. And of course, every creator needs to position it like in a more, heroic way. So yes, he's absolutely right. And I also did my own calculation. I wrote it here. So yes, it's 6.5, because the acid, the serum is neutralized, right? He calls it inert, but it's not inert. It's just like neutralized at 6.5. You add the pH adjuster so that azelaic acid dissolves in the serum, right? Otherwise, it just will not dissolve. It's almost undissolvable at the normal pH. And yes, it is very, very low concentration in the serum itself. However, when you put it on the skin, on your own skin, which pH is usually 4.5 to 5.5, depending on your skin, then the azelaic acid releases its free form. So it's not anymore 0.1 or 0.01, whatever he said. It actually, like by 5.5, it's 5%, 5, which is your skin pH, 21% is a free form, 4.5 is 50, and by 3.4, which is the other cream you mentioned, Azadir, it's actually 93% free form. So as soon as it comes in contact with your skin, the free form is released, and that's why you see that it is active.
So if I'm understanding it correctly, that free form is now more than the percentage that's mentioned on the package. But how much of it is reaching the skin layer could be different.
Yes, exactly. And no one knows. It can be what the package says. Package said, what did the package at 10%, right? It can be 10, it can be 8, depending on your pH of the skin. It also can be 15, 16. So it's also depending, because pH of every skin is slightly different. That's why it's 4.5 to 5.5. But like I said, 4.5 is 50% free form. 5.5 is 5. So the difference can be, and also depending what else you have on your skin, can be quite large. But because the free form is such a small amount when it's pH adjusted, it doesn't mean it's not active when it touches your skin. It just, that's why he says it's inert. It's basically just sitting there, not being active. But once it's adjusted to the different pH, it does become active.
But if we look at what he is saying, is it correct? But probably it's in a context not fully explained.
Exactly. What he's saying is correct from the chemical formulation standpoint. Whatever is in that formulation is indeed not 10% as they claim, but whatever he said, 0.01% or 0.1%. However, you don't just have that serum, you put it on your skin, right? So once it touches your skin, as with many other formulations, it changes to more molecules being in a free form, and therefore does its work.
If I come down to my next question, which is, any serum, cosmetic serum that is sitting at a higher pH, 6.5, there could be possibilities the other skincare products, not just this, probably their pH is also high when they are formulated in a tube, in a package, but once they come in contact with your skin, the pH could change based on the pH of your skin. And that happens with across all products.
It could. So, with creams, we usually formulate at that pH of the skin, because if the pH is too high, it may not adjust fully, right? Depending on the active ingredients you have in the cream. And the cream is occlusive, there are waxes, so it's much harder. This serum is just a liquid serum, right? So the high concentration ingredient will immediately be in contact with the skin. Vitamin C, of course, is at a lower pH to keep vitamin C stable, but and also working. So it is slightly at a lower pH, but when it comes in contact with your skin, it pH adjusts, but not like fully to the skin. So it's kind of will meet in the middle, right? And this is why vitamin C at the pH 3 can be so irritating to your skin, right? Because it's such a lower pH. It's very acidic. It can irritate sensitive skin, as with other serums that are at the pH 3 or 4.
So now that we are talking about cream, the base of the formulation, cream versus serum, and if we look at the cream that he mentioned in the video, which is Azelderm, it's a cream, right? And it says 20% azelaic acid. And there the pH comes down to, as per his calculation, is 3.4. So which means that it is pretty acidic and it might sting on the skin more than a serum like Anua, which is mainly an over-the-counter formulation and meant for general public, not as a prescribed medicine.
Yes, you're absolutely right. Yes, exactly. So when you look at Anua 10, and I actually pulled the ingredients, it's great ingredients. So it has azelaic acid as second ingredient, so it is in a high concentration. It has the pH adjuster, but also it has the hyaluronic acid, it has glycerin, it has all this Centella asiatica, all the Ayurvedic extracts. So it's really, really good for your skin, and then pH will adjust. The cream, Azelderm 20% cream, it has no pH adjuster at all. And azelaic acid dissolves because it's a cream, but it has no pH adjuster. That's why pH is so low. So the pH will slightly adjust when you put on your skin, but it also can be quite irritating. That's why it is prescribed.
This person has also mentioned that how azelaic acid is so difficult, is so hard to dissolve in water. So when it is so hard to formulate, and especially, when we are looking at all these serums that are available in the market, which are just water-like, Anua, or if we look at the Medicube serum, this is also quite watery. So what goes on behind the scenes in a lab to make a 10% or 16% azelaic acid serum that stays stable and clear without looking gritty or, over time becoming clumpy because of the dissolvability issues coming with azelaic acid as a raw ingredient?
Yeah, so exactly. So what they've done with Anua, they adjusted the pH, and when the pH is adjusted, and we do that also sometimes with the serums, it basically, and it becomes less active, right? It dissolves in water. And then they also use propylene glycol. So it's all this things that you use also for hyaluronic acid. Hyaluronic acid does also not dissolve in water, for example. So you also have to put in, what I do, in glycerin and a little bit propylene glycol, so then it does dissolve. And same with azelaic acid, you also have to put a little bit propylene glycol, glycerin, and adjust the pH so it does dissolve. Otherwise, you'll see those crystals, clumpiness, like you said, or like suspension, where it's kind of there, sitting there, but it's not dissolved. So you will see the little dots, and you're like, what is this? But also, when it becomes colder, like when you store it, like say you put it in the fridge, the crystals can come out. So azelaic acid can come out. But then if you again put it back at a normal temperature, the same formulation, you shake it, it will dissolve. And anyhow, even if you see crystals, it's not like it went bad. Once you put it on your skin, it will dissolve. It will be absorbed by the fat layer of the skin, it just doesn't dissolve in water. And that's why creams are so much easier to create, right? Because it's you first dissolve it in the vehicle where that molecule will dissolve, and then you put it in the cream, so you don't even see little particles, even if they possibly come out.
Okay. Now that you touched upon keeping it probably in a refrigerator and then using it, just you gave it as an example, but I'm thinking now if I put my azelaic acid serum in refrigerator, it crystallizes probably.
Immediately, yes.
Okay, and I take it out, I use it again. Is it still, the effectiveness still stays the same, or has there been some kind of compromise happening in the formulation?
So I would assume that they did do the stability studies, because when you develop a new formulation, you have to do like freeze-dry studies. So you need to put it in the very cold temperature, and like do 3 cycles, and you have to put it in a very hot temperature and do 3 cycles, because like anything you ship with a normal temperature and it's like 100 degrees outside, you need to make sure that the formulation is stable and it'll come out of suspension or mold or anything else. So I would assume that they did the studies, and I think I read somewhere that they did, that it's just the molecule that will come out or come back into formulation, but the activity should not be affected. But I don't think they suggest to store it in the fridge.
Yeah, they don't. But I am wondering because a lot of times people suggest keeping your skincare in refrigerator. But if you look at it, you take it out, and there is a lot of temperature change happening all the time. Then in my idea, probably it might affect the formulation's effectiveness. But again, if I go back and look at how the logistics wise, how the brands they ship their products to different locations and different countries, and probably there is a lot of temperature change happening all the time, like they are on the truck, on the roadways, they're in the in the cargo airplanes, in the ship, they're stored in completely different temperatures. So from a brand's perspective, I assume that these all things have been taken care of, because by the time it reaches on my desk, and even when it is in the store, it is stored in air conditioning environments. And by the time it reaches my house, I probably don't keep it in AC all the time.
Yes, exactly. You're right. Yeah. And this is why the testing, that's why like you develop a product and sometimes it takes a year to develop. Maybe not because, yeah, of course it takes many reiteration to develop the right formulation, but then it's the whole testing, right? You need to make sure it is stable for whatever, 6 months, a year. You need to make sure it goes all this like freeze and heat cycles, that it doesn't suddenly mold, the mold doesn't form, that it doesn't degrade, right? So I agree. And what I also say, like, I don't know what bottle this serum comes in, but of course now more and more brands, they make sure that it's not the bottle where you just open and constantly exposed to the light, right? That it's like darker bottles for vitamin C, or like you see the cream, like you just squeeze and it comes out. So you don't dip your finger constantly in there, or exposed to light. Because every time you do that, even though it's tested, but if you do it like 100 times until the cream runs out, anything, pollution can come, and the cream can start going bad. Or especially liquid, especially if it's a water-based. Like everything that's water-based, I make sure I put more preservatives than when it's cream, because everything water-based is very susceptible for any growth, right? Any bacterial growth. So you need to make sure it is good, is very well preserved.
Okay, so the serum in question, it comes in a clear bottle. Now, I have seen most of the azelaic acid serums, they come in clear bottle. And probably there you see a little bit of, marketing doing its game because of the color and the how attractive the package would look and how they could use that whole thing in their marketing materials. I think that has also a part to play there. Um, but now that you mention a clear bottle will, then I assume they might be adding a lot of preservatives to make sure that it is not getting contaminated in any which way and it is preserved.
Yeah. And clear bottle is okay as long as it's like you're not constantly opening it, but I think it is. It is a dropper, right?
Yeah.
And I always now, like vitamin C, we also do in a dropper, but every other serum we have, it's packaged and you just like do like this. So to make sure you don't constantly open and the air, oxidation, the air, the pollution. Clear bottle is okay if the molecule is stable when the light hits it. Like vitamin C is extremely unstable, right? Ascorbic acid. So when the light hits it, you won't have your 20%. Maybe it's like 5% left. Mm-hmm. That's why it needs to be always in a darker bottle. Azelaic acid, I think, is stable in light, but the dropper, I'm not a big fan of the dropper, but it is the cheapest way probably. And people love to see the dropper.
Yeah, and it just looks very aesthetic, when people are making content around it, that you just drip it on your face and it just looks satisfying, kind of.
Yes, but it's not the best. I'm not sure how long that bottle lasts. Maybe it's a month and it's done, then I would say fine.
Probably if someone is using it every day, 30 days or a little more than that.
Okay, then it's fine. Yeah, because I would say if it's like 6 months, I would be like, let's put it in like closed container. Mm-hmm. And now the bottles are great because they even have like the bottom goes up, so you get everything out. But yes, it's not aesthetically beautiful, right? Yeah. Because then it's just a bottle, you can't even see anything.
Yeah. Now that you touched upon packaging, and if somebody is buying an azelaic acid product, if someone wants to buy, they don't have a preference, they should go for a serum or a cream. So what would you suggest? A package that has a water-based azelaic acid serum, or a tube that has a cream and that has probably the same percentage of azelaic acid? Which one would you suggest to go for? Probably I know the answer by now, but I would love to know your thoughts on it.
So I think this also depends, because like if you compare this to the Anua and Azoderm, mm-hmm. Anua has pH of 6.5. It has great ingredients. I think it just boom, immediately gets sucked in by your skin. Mm-hmm. And then you have to put something occlusive, right? So it doesn't like go away or evaporate. You wanna make sure it stays. The cream is great because it also has very high concentration. It has 20%, mm-hmm. but it seems the pH is so low, it may be quite irritating for your skin. So I think both, I would not say one or another, because sometimes like I prefer serum and cream with different ingredients.
Okay.
Because serum is filled with nutrients, cream is usually has nutrients, and it is occlusive, right? That it really repairs your barrier over time. I don't know, what would you prefer?
So clearly what I understand is, and what my experience has been with using and reviewing skincare on my own skin is, it has never been about the active percentage. It has been about the formulation. And of course, as you said, the occlusiveness from the cream. And a lot of times I do layer these products. So probably one day I could use a serum and the other day I can use the cream, or, sometimes I can just combine both of them to get the maximum results.
And it's not always about just one thing when it comes to skincare. There's so many variables to it. The concentration, the packaging, your own preference, your skin's behavior, using a certain product.
So what their personal preferences are, because that can change completely.
I fully agree. That's why it's such a beautiful science field, right? That we can layer, we can do. And I think, like you said, sometimes in the summer I feel different, but 2 weeks from now, like I may feel very different, or like in Florida is very different than LA or where you are. So I think I use completely different products also depending where I am in the world. So it's fun.
I've been using azelaic acid and testing it on my channel, and I have seen, results with it. I have seen my skin becoming more even tone, looking more radiant, probably with a higher percentage of azelaic acid. And when I saw this content piece, and I was like, oh, is it really that? Because I have seen benefits. So what is the truth? Like, is it just, I go by the pH and all the numbers, or should I go by how does my skin look and feel in the mirror the next morning?
Yes. And I think it's that holistic view. If you just look at the formula, yeah, I agree with him. But it's not just the formula, it's also what you put on your skin. Also, the formula can be absolutely amazing, but your skin can be synthesized or barrier can be broken, and whatever that amazing cream may not work on your skin. So you're right. Plus, in the Anua formulation, it has so many great ingredients that probably contribute another 50% to how you feel your skin feels,
That's
and the
true.
same with the cream. It has very little ingredients, the Azelderm. And the main ingredient is azelaic acid. So, and when you look at the rest, it's really the base that supports it, and that's why it works.
Now, this question is around the virality. I know we have touched upon this before as well. And the whole thing comes down to when something becomes viral. There, a lot of times, these days at least, there is a lot of manufactured virality where, you have brands and agencies working towards making some product viral. In a world where brands can pay for visibility, seed products to hundreds of creators, generate engagement and influence, what we see online, how do we actually distinguish as a consumer, as a customer, what is based on genuine consumer demand and what is the manufactured virality?
Well, that's, I think, $1 million question, right? So I think you're right. And that's why there's TikTok, and that's why there's, of course, YouTube and Instagram, and there's so many creators that, sometimes spread the wisdom that works, and sometimes it's completely based on nothing, no scientific evidence, no, or there is scientific evidence, but it's not the full truth, right? So it's very hard, and that's why I think people like you, creators like you, continue to educate other people, to like what's real and what's not real. That's important to also listen to people you trust and the voices you trust. It doesn't need to be always derms or scientists. It can be also people who really, really study their ingredients and also on their skin. It's basically, we need to not just listen to 1 or 2 or 3 viral creators. We have to really assess and listen to people like you and the derms, etc. And I think for the brand, it's easy to go viral, but then how do you really know it works? Do people really buy second time? Right? Do those creators who posted once, do they post second and third time where they're not paid to talk about it?
Yeah.
Did they really, really love it? Or did they only post with the #ad, right? So I think that's very important.
That's a good point, actually. Yeah, that makes sense. As a consumer, I think we need to also educate ourselves how to identify what is being sold to us and what is actually a viral product.
Yeah. And also reviews, you can go and look again on the website. Some reviews can be bought, but if they sell, say, on Amazon or TikTok, I mean, you can't necessarily buy those reviews. These are real reviews, right? So Amazon has always real reviews. You can't buy any reviews there, or pay people to go and leave a review. That's not allowed. And on your website, it's not allowed, but people do it. So I think those things are always good to investigate.
Now, since you have just mentioned this Amazon review, and I have been thinking about it lately, whenever I'm buying a product, I look at the reviews, and they divide the reviews into 5-star, 2-star, 1-star. What I always do, I look at the 5-star reviews, some of the 5-star reviews, and I look at the 1-star and the 2-star reviews. The middle ones I don't see because I just want to see what best people are saying, what this product could do best, and where has it gone wrong for some of them. And somewhere when I'm buying the product, probably before even I go and check out the reviews, I have made up my mind that I'm going to buy it. And even when I'm reading a negative review about it, I probably still will buy it. And sometimes I think then why even I'm, spending that much time checking out the review? And the answer is probably just to know what could go wrong if it does not come out to be the best product for me, especially because it is something that, you're using on your skin.
I think you're absolutely right. That's why there are influencers, right? That's why people are influenced, right, to buy it. And I think when I made my mind, I want something, I'm like, I want that. And I also do exactly the same. What is the best thing? And I'm influenced by 5-star reviews, and 1-star, I'm like, I don't trust these people. So you're absolutely right. I think if I'm just going and buying, like, I love La Roche-Posay, for example, but I know that it's a company rooted in science, right? I mean, they're owned by L'Oreal, I think, but it's rooted in science. They did a lot of research. I know the ingredients are great. Then I don't really care about those 1-star reviews, because even the bestsellers, books, right, have 1-star reviews.
Yeah.
And I try it myself. So I think with me, I have a couple of companies I know how they do their work, and I trust, and I love the ingredients, and that's why I buy. I still check the reviews, but I'm not super influenced by those reviews. You're right. But if it's a new product, new viral product, I think checking reviews is good, unless you are so influenced that you just buy it. But yeah, that's why it's such an interesting time we live in now, right? That everyone can post those things and talk about it.
And just to add on to this, James Welch, he's a big influencer name in the skincare world. And he recently did one video where he talks about how marketing has gone crazy in 2026. And and he points out in his thumbnail to one product that's called Ozempic skincare. So basically, and he actually is talking about, why there is so much of bad marketing, and he started taking name of this brand called Dr. Malaxin. And he says, even though some of the products are really good in terms of their formulation, but how they have made attempts to make it go viral, it makes you question, is it really that good? There is this peel shot from Dr. Malaxin where everybody's just putting it on their face and they're scrubbing off they are saying it's dead skin, but it's actually the product clumping up. And every creator is doing the same. So you kind of identify when you see every creator is doing the same kind of, they are beginning their content with the same tagline, that it is a paid marketing.
Yes. And they also probably know, how it works. If a video worked, you just make 50 more videos kind of similar but slightly different to have more eyes on it. Yes, yeah. I agree that this whole Ozempic skincare, because keyword Ozempic, right, is ranking so high now.
Yeah.
Everything with GLP-1s. So everyone I see GLP-1 skincare, or doesn't even exist, but everyone is using it to just rank high, and then hopefully somebody will click and see their website. Yes, marketing has gone crazy.
It's a good thing and a bad thing, both.
It's a good and a bad thing. And I think that's why doing your own research and listening to creators you trust, and again, it doesn't need to be derms, because even derms are like sometimes go crazy. It's probably the way to go when you want to choose a product.
Thank you so much for your time. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.
And that is the reality of azelaic acid debate. It's never about the percentage on paper. It's always about the delivery system, your skin's tolerance and needs. If you want to see how this translates into real world experience, you can watch my personal experience where I used the 16% Medicube azelaic acid and compared it to the Toso Wong 10% azelaic acid serum. It's linked up here in the cards. And if you have already picked up the Medicube serum 16% azelaic acid and it is irritating your skin, you don't know how to incorporate it into your routine, I've made a whole tutorial on it, which is linked up here in the cards. I'll see you there. Thank you for watching.